Yo, what up gamers, I'm your Prodark, and today we're going to be playing JHIN, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how you play JHIN. If you don't know me, I'm a Master Tier ADC main from the US server, and I've been maining ADC since Season 5. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to subscribe for more guides and the best educational ADC content on YouTube. JHIN operates on an ammo-based auto-attack system. He can store up to 4 bullets, and the 4th bullet is a guaranteed crit, while also dealing extra damage based off of the enemy's missing health. After his 4th shot, however, JHIN will have to reload over the course of 2.5 seconds, taking him out of the combat for quite a while. Because of this ammo-based system, JHIN is very good in short trades when he's on very little ammo, because nobody can match his 4th shot's damage, but he's very weak in trades when he doesn't have the 4th shot available. That being said, in all ins, he's very useless when he's sitting on very low ammo, because he won't be able to put out much damage before he has to reload, and while reloading, he's not going to be much good in a fight. So while you're sitting on low ammo, you want to avoid getting into proper fights, but you can go for very short trades. So as you can see here, I'm a level behind Ziggs, but I'm still trading against him anyway because I have the 4th shot already, and he has to back off since he can't match the damage. JHIN Q is a grenade which will bounce onto the nearest 4 targets. Every time it kills one of its targets, it will deal increased damage to the next target, increasing every time. It has a very fast animation, which means you can very smoothly incorporate it into your trades. Here we go aggressive on Sona because she overstepped, but then I saved my 4th shot to execute the Ziggs, because he ends up going very low thanks to Nico, whereas Sona wasn't necessarily going to die. JHIN works best when paired with high damage mage supports like Nico, who can bring a target to low HP on their own, because that way JHIN doesn't need to deal like too much damage on his own, and he can then just instead focus on just executing them with his 4th shot. Because JHIN is very bad in fights where the target doesn't die in his 4 bullets. Any fight that goes long enough that he has to reload and the targets aren't dead yet is going to be a huge disadvantage to JHIN because he's just sitting there doing nothing for 2.5 seconds. The faster the enemies die, the better, and so the more damage his support does, the better it is for JHIN. As we recall here, let's take a look at the runes real quick. On JHIN, you'll want to run the Fleet Footwork with Presence of Mind, Legend Bloodline, and either Coup de Grace or Cut Down, alongside Biscuit Delivery and Time Warp Tonic. Time Warp Tonic is an unusual pick for an ADC, but on JHIN it makes perfect sense because the movement speed will really help him get in range to abuse his 4th shot. Paired with Boot Start and 4 potions, he will have a lot of resources to proc this run with, and throughout the rest of the game you should buy a refillable potion, and that'll also really help you proc that run throughout the rest of the game, which will always be helpful for either kiting away or just chasing people down for that 4th shot execute. JHIN W is a long range skill shot which will stop when it hits an enemy champion, and it will root them if the enemy champion has recently been damaged either by JHIN himself or by one of his allies. As you can see here, it's very good when you combo it with the CC of your support. So as we catch the Sona with that, we are able to just convert that into a kill very easily. It's important to remember that because your 4th shot does more damage to lower HP enemies, you want to start off with a Q whenever possible before you do the 4th shot, so that the 4th shot will deal more damage than if you were to do the reverse of 4th shot into the Q. Even in general while trading though, it's usually better to do the Q before your auto attack, even without the 4th shot involved, because the Q has such a fast animation that you're more likely to be able to land both the Q and the auto if you lead with the Q than if you lead with the auto. The auto attack is a longer animation, so there's more chance that the enemy will just get out of range before you finish casting the auto, and then you won't be able to follow it up with the Q. JHIN is a bunch of traps which will activate when come into contact with an enemy and explode after about a 2-second delay. It does damage in an AoE, so it's very good in wave clear. It's also very good for placing vision. The most important thing about the traps is that you need to use them for vision. So you can place them in brushes and that'll give you access to the knowledge of whenever the enemy support is in the brush. And they can also act as wards for you basically in the river. So here as Sona walks up, we can afford to go really aggressive on her because we've got 3 bullets in the chamber, which means that we have almost enough damage to just completely take her out by ourselves. And we got Nico behind us to back us up, so we can just afford to bait them a little bit with my low HP bar. Although the traps are really good when used for vision, you don't also want to hesitate to use them for wave clear because they're going to be really important to wave clear's JHIN, since his wave clear and his just ability to clear waves is very limited because this whole 4th shot ammo system makes it so that he's pretty slow at clearing waves with auto attacks very early on. So he needs to rely on his Q and his W and his E for wave clear. Especially early on when most of his abilities don't really deal all that much damage. If you're not using E for wave clear, then you're really going to struggle to clear waves in a timely manner. So because JHIN passive means that he can't really gain attack speed, instead it just gets converted to AD, he doesn't actually make too good use out of Berserkers as other ADCs do, so the boots you want to go for are Boots of Swiftness, which you can rush very early on. On my first back I could have done Boots of Swiftness, because it, helps you get in range for your Q and your fourth shot. But personally I just prefer to get the AD usually, for help lost hitting and for extra damage in lane. And in this particular back, I was considering the Boots of Swiftness, but it just wouldn't have been spending as much of the gold that I had, accessible to me as by going for the pickaxe. So we're just going to be probably just rushing the Gale Force here before we go for Boots of Swiftness. Alright, so I'm going to be placing the traps in the middle of the lane here, as you can see. And one neat tip about JHIN is that you should try and hold on to at least one trap whenever necessary. So if you need to use your E for wave clear, then fine. You can use that last trap. But in general, there's no advantage to just discharging your traps as fast as you can, Okay, so we're going to move up here and see if we can maybe just help out with the ultimate a bit, since very unlikely that I actually get there in time to help. There we go. Alright, so JHIN ult, as you can see, is a very long range, kind of follow-up tool for when your teammates initiate outside of your range. Instead of having to walk all the way up and just try and keep up with them, you can just help them from, quite a fair distance away by slowing the enemies and damaging them. Usually, if you can't immediately follow up and engage because you're too far away, rather than trying to walk back into range, the best thing to do is to just follow up with the ultimate instead. And another big advantage of this ultimate in lane is that when you and your opponents get really low in lane, like during a fight, you can just back off, and as soon as you're in safety, you can just start ulting, and there's no way they can retaliate. They have to try and run and hope that they can dodge all the bullets, but potentially, if they're already low, then they just die if they get hit by any of the bullets. So that means that fights that go to really low HP but result in neither side dying, that is a huge advantage to JHIN, because he can actually follow up in a way that might kill the enemies with no risk to himself. You want to make sure you're using your abilities to lost hit as much as possible whenever you're reloading, because if you don't, you're going to be missing a lot of CS throughout the game just because you're busy reloading and you just can't lost hit. You can salvage a lot of farm with your abilities. It costs you a lot of mana, but it is what it is. At least the mana costs on JHIN's abilities, namely his Q and his W, are not that high. So each lost hit doesn't cost you too much. It will cost you a lot in the long run, but the gold gained is worth it. So I can see I only placed that trap once my next trap is almost up, just trying to keep on, or trying to hold on to at least one trap with me at all times, just in case I ever need one, spontaneously. I could place the trap, the one that I placed there, whenever I want, so I don't need to be in any rush to do that. But yeah, now as you can see, so these traps are going to be blocking off any attempted gank by Kindred. The traps themselves will slow her whenever she tries to gank. But also another thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that when an enemy is hit by your E, even just slowed by your E, that is already enough to make them snareable by your W. So if Kindred were to try and gank here, then I would be able to hopefully snare her before she can notice that there's a trap there that she's slowed by. Alright, before we recall here, we just place a trap in a random place. We want to make sure that we're not just holding on to traps for no reason though. If we go into base, we're going to be holding on to 2 traps for a while with no useful place to put them. So we want to place at least 1 before we leave. Though I said that it's good to hold on to like at least 1 trap, well, just 1 trap to have it available for any spontaneous situation that might arise. That only applies to just the 1 trap. You don't want to be sitting on 2 traps ever, because it's just wasting the cooldown. You want to be placing your traps as much as you can, just to have them, blocking off as many places as possible, or giving you vision in as many places as possible. So to do that, you don't need to be rushing to place both of your traps down at once, both at the same time, but you do need to make sure you're placing at least 1 at a time to get that cooldown going. So again, we just placed that lost trap there again. Just keep that place blocked off. It's going to be really hard for Kindred to ever walk through here at an angle that could gank us without just setting off a trap there. So right now we just want to slow push and just kind of force them to walk up if they want to get any XP or lost hits. Except for the fact that Ziggs can lost hit from quite a distance away, but at least we can deny a lot of XP from Sona. And just try and force a fight here. Gonna follow up the ultimate as mentioned. Okay, ideally actually I should have held on to my 4th shot there. Because it just forces them to stand still, because they know that Sona's just gonna die if I ever hit her with a 4th shot. And so as Ziggs, as you can see, was just body blocking her there. If I just maintain my 4th shot for an indefinite amount of time, he just has to stand still for an indefinite amount of time as well. And that sets up the gank a lot more easily for Yi, although the end result is just the same. So unfortunately, JHIN is not the greatest turret taker because of all the downtime he has with his, passive. The reload just makes him very inefficient at taking turrets. Fortunately, with the help of Yi here, though, it shouldn't be too hard to just probably get this turret here. Yeah, even with the Ziggs wave clear, still gonna be a free turret there. So naturally, when you're looking to wave clear with your Q, you want to make sure you're hitting, or you're starting off with the lowest HP minion to get your Q to execute that. Then it'll do more damage to the other minions and hopefully execute them as well. So it'll do as much damage as possible to the entire wave. Also, one important thing to mention about your Q, or not important, but it's a neat trick, is that it doesn't actually have to be what kills a minion. So if you were to Q a minion and it survives, but then you hit it and it dies, then that also counts as your Q having killed it, and it'll do more damage to the next minion. And this also works really weirdly, where even if it has already gone into the 2nd target, and then the 1st target dies, the 3rd target will take that increased damage, even though it was like nowhere near in time. Okay, Ziggs really messed up that bomb, so that's gonna be a free kill. As you can see, that trap just completely slowed her, completely messed up her opportunity to try and kill me there. Ends up having to run away, and probably just gonna die here. Yep, pretty cool for me. Alright, so I'll take a moment now to talk about JHIN's build. What you generally want to go for is Gale Force into Collector, into Fire Cannon, into Infinity Edge. JHIN loves crit, but Gale Force is the only crit mythic that makes absolutely any sense on him whatsoever, since he doesn't auto-attack enough for Kraken Slayer to do much, and he doesn't really make enough use of lifesteal either. At least not until like very, very late game. So Gale Force is going to be your only option, and it's actually really good on him because of the amount of... hang on. Nice. Because the massive amount of AD that he gets from his passive will mean that the active will deal a lot of damage on him. So you can just one-shot people from like really high amounts of HP using combos, using combos involving Gale Force. It's like Gale Force forwards, auto attack, Q, and if you had like 2 bullets, then you can use 4th shot to finish them off, and that's pretty much like a guaranteed one-shot on 20 squishy. Collector also fits very nicely with JHIN's Birthday playstyle, and also helps you execute the opponents with your 4th shot. Fire Cannon 3rd item is interchangeable with Infinity Edge, but at that point Fire Cannon is really good because your auto attacks start to deal a lot of damage, especially when they crit. And so being able to do that auto attack poke from a very long distance away is very useful, especially if you can 4th shot them from outside of the usual range that they're expecting. Oh shit, I think I got too close to the turret here. Yep, ow, that was unnecessary. Okay, we'll Gale Force out of that one. And yes, Infinity Edge, very useful in JHIN, obviously. You deal a lot of damage once you complete that. But generally, just the fact that he already deals a lot of damage by the 3 item point, no matter what item you build, is just what makes Fire Cannon usually what people prefer to build 3rd on JHIN. But definitely, probably against tankier comps, I would prioritize the Infinity Edge. Just to deal some more damage to make sure you have the damage to take them down. And another important thing is that against the really, really tanky comps, you want to replace the Collector with Lord Dominic's. And after that core build, you just want to follow it up with any, standard ADC items that are going to fit this situation. So like Guardian Angel or Lord Dominic's if you didn't already build it. You can even do Storm Razor if you just want pure damage, along with some utility. And, there's a lot of options. Really just going to use your brain for what you think is going to be best for the situation.
The end is important in all things.
Alright, so we're just gonna place a trap here. You know, any kind of position that I could get flanked from, that's a good place to place a trap because, you know, it'll slow them and delay them as they try and flank you. What the hell? Did you guys see that? There was somebody right in front of me. Holy shit, this scared me so much. Yeah, so this game is not looking too good, but you know, we'll do what we can. Oh god. God, she's fast. Yeah, I'm dead. That sucks. Anyway, as I was saying, so yeah, the game is looking pretty rough, but you know, we'll do what we can to try and maintain a clean performance here, and see if we can maybe, just maybe, turn the game around. We will see what can be done. So what we want to be doing is just trying to maintain as much farm as we can. Try to get as strong as possible in order to impact the fights as best as we can. Also just try and minimize any damage on side lane. So hopefully if we could kill Quinn here, that would be nice. It's a shame Ziggs showed up here. Potentially there's something that can be done here though. Alright, so I just go first forward there just to try and bait the Quinn and then disengage, but I thought Nico on the side would be able to do something, but she didn't go for it. Okay, so we'll just leave Nasus to his farm, and we can go over to farm mid here. We were just trying to make sure that Quinn just couldn't pressure top lane uninterrupted there. We didn't have a mid wave to farm yet, so just something to do to kill time. So we can just use our W there to soften up the minions for our Q. Early on that doesn't work because neither your Q nor your W do that much damage. But by this stage of the game you barely even need your E for wave clear. I'm just gonna use my ultimate here to try and drop them as low as possible and just make sure they don't get a chance to get this inhib. Would have been nice to get the Cullen Kindred as well, but since that's not possible, we'll just chunk out the Zero as hard as we can. Nice little kill steal there. So just gonna place a trap here. It's an important place to have vision.
A costume, some makeup, a spray of blood.
Okay, so one important thing to note as well is just how much you need your E for clearing camps, especially camp like Raptors. You don't really have the AoE to kill it unless you use your E. So if you don't even have E, I wouldn't even bother trying to do Raptors unless you know you're gonna have an E soon. Especially early on into the game, you can only really clear Raptors when you have 2 E's, which is not really efficient either. So early on, you kind of want to stay away from Raptors, but Wolves are probably fine to do. In general though, JHIN is not the greatest champ at farming camps, but if you have to, you know, it is possible.
It's so difficult to work under these conditions.
Enemy is unstoppable. An enemy has been slain. Enemy rampage.
Team really struggling. Okay, we'll try and see if we can kill Quinn here. I've got my Gale Force for the execute. Never mind, she's healed way too much. Yeah, that's definitely not someone I can fight. Just gonna back off here before she like flashes on me or something.
In carnage, I bloom like a flower in the dawn.
I don't actually have enough for Fire Cannon yet, so I'm gonna try and clear this wave.
Only during the performance.
Okay, so he is trolling. Nice. So that trap I actually didn't need to place. For example, I'm sitting on I was sitting on only one trap and the next one is a wall away. Hang on. Okay, nice. Could be 2 kills there. And I didn't end up needing a trap, so it wasn't too important. But, you know, in general, like I said, you don't need to be in a rush to place your last trap. Just as long as you're not sitting on 2 traps, that's the important thing. Okay, could be a pick on Quinn here. Never mind. Yeah, if I had forced her already there, I might have just been able to flash on her, but I didn't, so... Yeah, I just really can't do anything to her, unfortunately. Okay. It's a shame I didn't have my W ready. Damn, that could have been a kill. Okay, that's still a kill. Okay, nice. Hopefully that gets Garen back into the game.
Before the curtain goes up.
Now I can finally back for Farkanen. Which will be really helpful for battling the Quinn especially, and the Kindred in general. It's not so important into the melee champs, but against full range champs, if you can like poke away at them without them being able to hit you back, then that's really nice. Okay, I'll probably just shove this wave and then see if I can grab red buff. Might be needed for Kindred here though. Alright, nice. Yeah, okay, so I don't have quite the range to poke away at Azir. He can definitely poke me back no matter what. Oh, am I dead here? No, we're fine. Okay, I don't know what that ultimate was about actually. I thought my teammates would actually be in position to like try and kill him, but I guess they didn't notice he was going on me, because it didn't make sense not for them not to actually go aggressive on him there when he dashed in, because he just wasted dash, you know. Oh god. Okay, so at least we live, but fuck, now I'm just completely zoned from that Drake fight. I actually can't go there. I need to just farm mid, I think. Yeah, because I don't want to run into Quinn. No, it's already too late. Yeah, we'll just clear the mid wave.
It is only when the gun fires. Everyone is watching.
So we're doing a pretty good job of maintaining our CS per minute. Right now I think our CS per minute, if anything, is actually higher now than it was when I first talked about trying to maintain a clean performance, so... At the very least it is the same, which is really good, because in the mid game it's the easiest time for your CS per minute to fall off in a losing game. Can be hard to like find farm when constantly Garen and Nessus are farming mid, but you know, through supplementation of farm through camps and going out the side lanes, we're managing to keep the CS per minute up, which is really important for trying to have an impact over the game. Yeah, good enough for the BF sword now.
I wonder what they think when they see me.
So at this point I actually have an FAD that my Q just one-shots casters without any setup needed, so that's really nice. Makes your wave clear much, much better at this stage.
I will not suffer this ugly.
Who's that TPing? That's Ziggs. Unfortunately, with Garen just dying, not gonna be anything we can do. I'll just place a trap there to try and block off where Quinn is likely to try and come pick someone off through. And if I manage to react to it in time, I can snare her with a W as well. Almost killed him there. Yeah, that's a nice pick combo you can do with Jhin. Is just go force forwards and just immediately go for the W after you hit the auto. If they get rooted, they're pretty much almost guaranteed to die. Almost, as you saw there. Yeah, I can't actually do anything to her. They're gonna have to back off. I've almost got Infinity Edge. It's a shame I can't quite finish it yet.
Your inhibitor has been destroyed.
This will be easier if blood came.
Okay, did what I could there. Just gonna grab the Infinity Edge real quick. As you can see, I do a lot more damage, but yeah. I get one auto attack off before I die. Sucks. So unfortunately it's a loss, but we did what we could. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Later, gamers.